Hello everybody and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions for another round of League One predictions. We have got 12 barnstorming games to bring you. But before we dive into it, we just want to do what we always do and say thank you to those people that gave their predictions for last week. So very quickly, Manish Thapper, the man, he's like quicker than a hiccup how quick he gives his predictions to us. Not a great week, we did get one correct score. 4 points for you, Manish. Paul Ridgely, I think that's the first time you've given us predictions, so thank you very much. Not a bad showing, 5 points. Jonathan Heref, up to you by 1, 6 points. Well done, Jonathan. And long, may his Wycombe Wanderers keep giving him joy and delight every single week. Man who's been in the wilderness, Thomas, Matthew Bowden. He's given us predictions. I feel like I haven't heard anything from Matthew for ages. But he got 2 correct scores and just only one other score right, so 7 points. And he is joint winner along with the pessimistic one himself. Robert Allen is a wiener. That is right, folks. 7 points for the pessimistic one. Although, technically, I'm going to award it to Matthew Bowden because Robert put Oxford to lose to Plymouth. And he shouldn't show weakness against your team. So we're giving it to Matthew. If you don't like it, Robert, leave a nasty face in the comments. But thank you once again, and if you want to be able to get a shout out next week, give your predictions down below and we'll give you a shout out on next week's video. But that is all the grandstanding and hot dogging out of the way. Thomas, lead us into the first game.
Morecambe versus Plymouth Argyle. Green Army.
Who can stop the Green Army, Thomas? They look formidable at the moment. They did a massive job on Oxford. You can see the review I did in the top corner, and it's done very well, actually, that video. So thank you to all the Plymouth fans that heaped on the misery. Where there's tragedy, there's trade in the YouTube business, for sure. But they backed that win up against Oxford with another easy win tonight at home. Sorry, they were away, weren't they? Were they away?
Who?
Bolton. Plymouth. Were they away at Bolton?
Plymouth were at home.
They were at home. Sorry. So, yeah, they backed that up with a very nice, easy win. And you would think this is going to be another easy win for Plymouth against a Morecambe side where I wouldn't say the wheels have come off. They've just got a few bad results in the last few weeks, conceding a few too many goals, couple of not so great results for them. So I'm going to go 3-0 to Plymouth.
Yeah, not a huge amount to say about Morecambe. Their form's coming back to where we thought they'd be. Plymouth have been absolutely fantastic, and there's no need to bet against them until they start losing 2-0 to the Green Army.
At least you said it properly.
More Canberra?
There you go. Hot on the heels of Plymouth are Sunderland, and they are at home to Charlton.
So Sunderland with a huge 4-0 victory takes them up to second in the table, but Charlton, Ian, are absolutely hapless. They couldn't win for love nor money. They've lost to my beloved Aki. Charlton at home, they've lost 3-2. They are having such an awful start to the year.
Yeah, terrible. Really, really, really poor. And it's, we said it the other week, the knives are going to be out for Nigel Adkins. You would imagine if this form doesn't get turned around, which you won't imagine it will at the weekend, it can't be long before they start to think about a replacement there. Sunderland have been magnificent, really. I'm starting to actually think they didn't run scared from Oxford. I'm starting to think they give them the benefit of the doubt, but they have had a bit of a odd game against Gillingham where they just about got over the line, but they've absolutely had an amazing win away from home tonight, and I think it'll be a nice easy win for them at the Stadium of Light. I'm going to go comfortable 2-0 win for Sunderland.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 3-1 victory here. Sunderland, they are conceding the odd goal, but they look exactly like what we've asked them to look like for like 5 straight years in this league. Like a team that's got a lot of money, that's built a decent team, that's winning football games.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and they're long-suffering fans, and but it won't take long before doesn't take much for the wheels to fall off the Sunderland bus. So they're doing all right at the moment. But if there are any Charlton fans, just comment down below because I already just want to know what is going wrong, because I think you're a better side than where you should be in the league.
Oh yeah.
And, just what needs to change other than Adkins out, which is probably going to be the default answer.
Talking about Charlton, let's talk about the team that's just beaten them 3-2 away from home. Accrington Stanley host a Portsmouth team that were just spanked 4-0 by Ipswich, Ian.
Yeah.
Oh,
pretty much copy and paste, really, isn't it? For what I said about Charlton, you could say about Portsmouth. It's a really disastrous start to the season for them. They seem to be getting worse. It seems to be Cowely just comes out and says the same drivel every single week, and Accrington are just great, aren't they? Accrington just do this every time. They might have a bit of a bad run, but then they'll do something like go to Charlton and win by 3-2. And this is Portsmouth will be hoping that they need to get some revenge on Accrington, because Accrington are the ones that stopped them from getting in the playoffs last season with that game on the final day. So
they've been garbage.
They've been garbage. But I think I'm backing them to get a draw here. I think Pompey will get something. They have still got some good players going forward, and I think that they'll get a 2-2 draw here.
You go with a 2-2 draw, but we all know that I can't show weakness. 2-1 to Stanley.
That's where the smart money is in this one, which is amazing. AFC Wimbledon versus Wigan.
So, Ian, a tough luck loss for Wigan Athletic. They dropped down the table like a rock into fourth place after a 1-0 loss at home to the mighty MK Dons. Wimbledon, an early penalty. They win the game. No matter what, they're still having for them, a good year.
Yeah, they're doing well. I mean, they were 2-0 down against Wednesday and came back to get a 2-2 draw. They just got such a good fighting spirit about them. 1-0 win against Lincoln. That's a tough place to go, despite Lincoln aren't doing great. But that was a great result. And this will be a tough game for Wigan. They'll want to get back to winning ways. Most people will target Wimbledon as being a game they should win, but it doesn't pan out that way. And Wigan were good enough. AFC were good enough to get a draw against Wednesday. I think they're going to be good enough to get a draw against Wigan. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
I refuse to accept your draw-mongering ways. 2-0 to Begonia.
Good side, Wigan, as a blip on the radar, really. Milton Keynes Dons versus Rotherham. And before you go into it, I'm just going to say, it's like kind of trying to do a Rubik's Cube in the dark, trying to figure out Milton Keynes Dons, isn't it? They are the enigma of all sides in world football.
They're one of the greatest footballing sides on earth. They took the Pep Guardiola mantle of football and went, look, we can do it even better in League One. I mean, they're still at the ball all the damn time. They still play these odd games where they can't score goals. But they're doing really well this year. They're top 6. And they're playing a Rotherham side that have just drawn 0-0 with Wycombe, which I'd say is a really good result for them. It pulls Wycombe down, who are on an absolute tear. And this should be a pretty good game.
Yeah, you would think so. I would say that's a damn fine point for Wycombe, more than a good point for Rotherham. I would have said Rotherham would have fancied their chances of winning that one because they've been in good form, and they'd have thought at home they should be winning majority of their home games. It should be a good one. I'm going to be back in the Millers. I know you're probably going to be back in MK. I think Rotherham will kind of come away from down south with a 2-1 win.
Yeah, see, I'm refusing to go with any draws this week. So 2-1, no, 3-1. Okay, Dons.
Wow. I'll be impressed if they get that. I really will.
Yeah.
But here we go. How many goals to nil is this one going to be? Wycombe Wanderers versus Crewe Alexandra.
Crewe absolutely hammered by Sunderland. They are having an actually awful year. What we expected from them last year, they are in fact doing this year. They sit second bottom. They really are not offering a huge amount in the league this year. They've shipped 22 goals, which I think is like the third or fourth most, which is just, it's not been a good season for them in that respect. Wycombe, absolutely flying high in this league. They're in third place. I think there are 6 or 7 games unbeaten, including this 0-0 draw with Rotherham, which obviously you credited as a good result to them. And I'm just going to go ahead and give my score in before you get a chance. I'm going to go with 4-0 to Wycombe.
They're just so hard to beat. They're really tough side to beat, Wycombe, and it's credit to them. And Oxford fans have got this bee in their bonnet about the way they play, but they don't lose games. And at home they've been really, really strong. They win often to nil, and I think that I'm going to go one less and say it'll be 3-0 to Wycombe, because Crewe have been terrible.
And on that total lack of a bombshell, I just want to take a second to thank everyone who follows us on Patreon. Thank you, Robert Allen, Christina Allen, PJ Simpson, and Matthew Bowden, and everyone else who does support us. But thank you so much for your support. It pays for this channel, my snowball mic, everything else. It's really great you guys do that for us. We really appreciate it. But at the very least, please do consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and of course, always follow Grandstand Betters. They're really good at this. But again, we move back into the League One, and we come in to the mighty victors over Portsmouth. It's Ipswich Town versus Fleetwood Town.
Yeah, not just victors, they smashed them, didn't they, as you talked about earlier.
Domination.
And it's been a strange turnaround for the Ipswich fans, because they moaned about Lambert because the style of play was boring. Paul Cook's gone in there. He's definitely improved things in front of goal, and they've got to be one of the top scorers, I think, in the division. But they've just been weak and shoddy at the back and thrown away points, which is what they did against Cambridge, where they got 2-2.
The top scorers.
Yeah, they got a 2-2 draw at the weekend from a 2-0 lead. But they've gone down to Fratton Park in a massive game and absolutely smashed Pompey. So I fear this Ipswich side is just starting to tick along nicely. And we did think they would be one of the sides that would get promoted this season. It's just starting to fall into place. Fleetwood were on a good run, but they just come unstuck today. I think that's only like 2 losses in the last 10 games or something. So it won't be easy for Ipswich, but I think it'll be another high-scoring game. Let's go 3-1 to the Tractor Boys.
Yeah, I can't see Fleetwood scoring personally. I'm going to go 3-0 to the boys from Tractor Town.
Bolton Wanderers versus Gillingham Football Club.
Why are you going to call them Football Club and not FC? Why are you going to do that to me?
What is it? I assume that's what FC stood for. I don't know. It might stand for effing cucks.
So in Bolton are on an absolutely terrible run of form right now. It's 3 straight losses, and there's obviously no shame to losing like teams like Plymouth, but we expected more from Bolton coming into the season. We thought they were going to be a stronger team than that. They're currently kind of sitting mid-table. Not great for them. Gillingham, on the other hand, beat the hapless Doncaster Rovers 1-0. Good result for them. I mean, anytime Gillingham wins, it's a good result for them because they've not had the greatest of years. They're just sitting above the relegation zone. And for me, I think Bolton should win this.
They should do, but they just concede a lot of goals. And Gillingham, will, it's the same game plan, home and away, really. It's keep the game tight, try and, and if you get into the lead, literally clam up and don't give anything away. And they're usually very good at that. And that's just the trouble with Bolton are a bit too open, and it was working for them at the start of the season. They've just come a bit unstuck lately. And I'm not sure we had them as like a side that's going to be getting promotion, but we thought they'd be around the playoff mix, and they're still not that far away from that. They're just done a bad run. League One, you are going to go through little weird periods of good and bad form in this league. It is a weird one, but I'm gonna just say Bolton get back to winning ways here. I'm gonna go for a 2-1 Bolton win.
I'm going to replicate that score. Sheffield Wednesday versus Lincoln City.
So the Darren Moore show carries on with Wednesday, and they've not been good, although they're still kind of up there in the league and around the playoff picture. They had a 1-1 draw with Cambridge, but they were behind for a long time and just managed to get that equaliser. But they did go 2-0 up against Wimbledon and threw away that lead. So Wednesday fans can't be happy. I'm sure the Lincoln fans aren't too happy either. It's been a weird old season for them, losing again at home, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going wrong for Appleton there, really. I think they've got a good side. It's just not, for some reason, it's not clicking at the moment. And I think Wednesday will get a win here. I just don't think Lincoln are particularly good on their travels either, and I think it's going to be a 2-0 Sheffield Wednesday win.
I'm going to go with a 1-0 victory to City, but
wow,
it's a bit of a hangover for City from the playoffs and how well they did last year. Maybe just still having a hard time getting into gear. The season's long; it's painful.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, they've had when they played Oxford, they had a lot of players out with injuries and with COVID. So I really haven't checked to see if that is still the case. But they just don't. They just don't look as strong as they did last season. Last season they were very a very resolute side, hard to beat. And this season they've just kind of lost that a little bit.
Doncaster Rovers versus Cheltenham Town.
So Cheltenham have been great. They have that's 2 wins in a row, 2 good home wins for them after a bit of a period of not being in such great form, so that's great for them. Doncaster is it fair to say they are the embarrassment of League One?
Yes, I think it is, Ian Allen.
Yes.
And I think that is exactly what we'd call them. 6 goals scored in 12 games. How you score half a goal a game is beyond me. That just doesn't make sense.
It's woeful, isn't it? It's really bad. This is a game they will be penciling as a game. It's almost getting into must-win territory for them, really. I mean, it's not going to be mathematically, but just in terms of trying to turn that form around, they've got to try and get some form going. But I'm not convinced they're going to get anything here. I think Cheltenham look a pretty well-organised team, and I think that this could be a draw. I'm going to go for 1-1.
Well, Ian, you know I don't do draws. 2-1 to Cheltenham Town.
Yeah, I would. I don't think many people would be too displeased with that one, Tom. Shrewsbury Town versus Cambridge United. 0-0. Oh, he's got nothing. He's reached that time. He's got nothing to say. Well, I do have some stuff to say because I've just watched Shrewsbury play Oxford. Oxford came out, needed to get a result in that game, and they did by 2-0. But I thought Shrewsbury were okay. They just lack a cutting edge. They should have really been. They should have taken advantage of Oxford's poor first half, but they couldn't. But they're not a bad side. They're quite well organised. They just don't have a cutting edge. Cambridge are a pretty useful side. So I actually can see Cambridge nicking this by 1-0.
A 1-0 to the Cambridge United.
Shrewsbury have been losing a lot of games, but they don't lose by much. They're kind of
they don't
tight
concede.
games. Yeah. And you can see why they really bank up with like a back 5 and then almost like 10 players. They're almost like the rest of the players like right in front of them. It's
Is it almost like the anti-football is back?
Weird that it is. It's weird that they've fallen back into it. I thought Cotterell would try and change it, but not the case. Who cares about those games? Because we've reached game 12. It's time for the main event.
Burton Albion hosting your Oxford United.
2 home games for Oxford this week. A good game against Plymouth, but Plymouth were just too strong for us and too clinical, and ended up winning by 3-1. So it meant this game against Shrewsbury, it wasn't a must win, but it was important that Oxford got back into winning ways, and they did. 2 players that I often criticise for not having scoring enough goals in Mark Sykes and Cameron Brannigan with the goals. So very encouraging second half, and it just keeps Oxford kind of ticking along quite nicely. But I'm a little bit worried about this game, Tom.
And rightly so. Burton Albion are absolutely fantastic side. You guys are sat next to each other. It's neck and neck. You've actually scored more goals than they have this year, and you conceded less. So that's a good mark in your column. But this is 2 sides that really are pressing for the playoffs. Burton have continued this incredible run of form under Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. They win more than they lose all of a sudden. They're no longer this incredibly mediocre side. They have a little belief. They play with a real purpose, and it's going to be a tough game for Oxford going to Burton trying to get a win here.
Yeah, it'll be a tough physical game, and Burton are very good from set pieces, which is something Oxford can be guilty of. Although not recently, they can be guilty of being a bit slack there. Equally, Burton, where they've probably been their weakest, is they've conceded a few goals from set pieces, which, as we know, Oxford just cannot score from set pieces, so we're going to get no joy there whatsoever. I saw a stat that said Oxford are kind of like the before today's game, that they've actually created the most chances in League One this season, which doesn't really surprise me.
I was going to say it's believable.
It's the same thing every week we talk about the amount of chances they take and don't convert. So hopefully Oxford can put that right in this game, and we can get a really good win like we did against Sheffield Wednesday, because I think it's going to be tight and it will be hard fought. 2-1 Oxford win. Can't show weakness, you see.
Yep, and I've got to show weakness. 2-1 to Burton Albion. My boys, come on, Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, usual thing is Oxford score the first goal and then don't kick on. So let's hope that's not the case in this one, Tom.
Indeed, and that brings us to the end. Thank you to everybody who's watched this. Please comment below with who you think is going to win. Like or don't like the video. Definitely subscribe. Send this on to everyone you know. follow Grandstand Betters, show us all the love, and we will see you for predictions next week.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.